part of that massive appeal is because so much of comedy is quite a blokey thing that appeals only to blokes. This resonated very widely across, you'd probably say the split, like male and female fanship is about the same.
Yeah.
So it's not off-putting by exploring this female perspective and viewpoint and experience to males. It's, you know, it's not split like that, is it?
No, I just think the relief, you know, I think the relief of seeing somebody that people can relate to, a female comedy character people can relate to, that's dark and weird for men and women.
The themes are universal. Like it's grief and loneliness, friendship, family. These aren't, they're sort of seen through the prism of female eyes in this particular circumstance, but they're not kind of only relevant to this gender or this gender.
And also crushing down your real feelings. You know, I think men really experience that too. Trying to hide what you're really feeling and come across as fine and tough and cool and everything's all right. So, yeah, you get a lot of big blokes, don't you, going, love Fleabag.
Yeah, they do, yeah. Oh, no, this guy who's really broken-hearted by Boo. And he was such a surprising person to have seen the show. He was really emotional. It was in a pub, but he caught me on the way to the loo. He was like, Boo! I was like, what? And he was like, Boo! I know, man, I know. But something I love is that I get people telling me so often that it's their parents that told them to watch it because their parents, it reminds them of them. So it's like going, my dad said it was like me. I love that people's dads were going, darling, I've seen someone who I think I understand you now. But it being a positive thing, you know, and that they're being able to talk, and people saying that they're talking about, there's one woman telling me she was watching it, this female vicar was telling me she was watching it with her 14-year-old son, because it just makes them talk about things that would not allow to talk about. I mean, I think that's awesome.
Good, it's public service.
Yes, exactly.
You get a lot of older, quite senior figures at the BBC who really want to meet you, and you think, oh yeah, hello. It seems to go well with old men for some reason. Anyway, I've said too much. We're here. This is it's a little bit grandiose to go, how do you make an international hit? Here's the formula.
I know. But, came up with that title.
Sussman, blame Sussman. But we should talk about the kind of how it has become that, and in terms of it going global. Amazon's been a part of that journey.
Yeah.
So they got involved post-pilot because you wanted it to have that sort of big kind of dramatic look and ambition and tone and scale to the whole thing. How was that journey? How did that come about, that relationship with Amazon?
We took, via All 3 Media, who were our distribution partner and now our parent company, they took the pilot to 3 American broadcasters in the first instance, and we spoke on the phone with all of them, and they had the sort of normal questions about where it might go and because they hadn't seen the play in most cases, so I think they didn't necessarily know the story. And then we had those kind of initial conversations. It was all very loose, and then Amazon felt like they had the most, like we were sort of on the same page, and they got the show, and they were well up for keeping the same, like the DNA of it the same, and they weren't going to Americanize it or anything like that. And then, so they basically came on as an acquisition partner after that, and then they were very kind of hands off. They were really supportive. They came to set a few times, they were very excited, but they weren't kind of... There
was no interference on notes or casting or any of that?
There was like an idiom that got mistranslated, or they thought it was an idiom. Do you remember? So in episode 2 where Fleabag tries to get back with Harry, and she says, sorry, did I interrupt you? And then he says, oh no, I was in the interval of cats. And then Amazon wrote this note saying, what is an interval of cats? Oh, yeah. So we were like, okay.
Surreal.
So there is actually...
One note for the whole episode.
So there is actually a line of ADR in the American version, if you ever watch it, that says, the musical, just over the top.
ADR.
That's funny.
Yeah. They also didn't get B-Day doesn't work out there either.
Oh yeah, B-Day. They thought it was like birthday. Godmother's B-Day.
Yeah, the first orgasm on her birthday. But they were so great, yeah. They were just really into it being its own thing, and that the freedom that they brought us they were just like after the read-through and stuff, they were just cool.
Great.
It's cool.
They
great.
were really.
And they did when they felt something strongly, they would come in, but they wanted it to be
what they bought.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's led to obviously a huge profile for you, and you must get way more offers. And how are you coping with that profile and the big success? What's...
Well, it led to getting another writing job straight away afterwards. So I've really just sort of been in a cave, really, since it happened. So on one level, I feel so excited that it's happened, and that I hear of this profile. I hear of this, but I think going back to work straight away and getting just completely neck deep in it. I mean, it's just been so mad busy. I suppose you chase it in some way. You sort of think, oh God, I'm off now. I've got to do as good as Fleabag was, or there's that element of it. But essentially, it just creates more work. I've discovered, which is great. There's
a clip of you on Jimmy Fallon. We should have a look at just for a joy. Can we have a go at this?
Oh, but Vicky was there, and she just kept saying, "Don't lean forward, don't lean forward." And then I sat down, and I went, "Ah!" Vicky was like, I had like 2 whole chickens in there as well. It was like
you had one job.
Vicky was like, "Say that."
So you mentioned, so what are you guys up to next? You mentioned Killing Eve is the writing gig for BBC America.
For BBC America, yeah. Drama.
Drama. 8 hours, is
8-part drama.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, bloody hell, yeah. And I think, it was an amazingly exciting departure from Fleabag, because the half-hour comedy with the surprise bit of drama in it suddenly became just do the surprise for 8 hours, and with a little bit of comedy in it. So we're halfway through that, and Vicky was writing on that as well.
Oh, brilliant.
It's been really great to work.
You're not in that, or are you in that?
No, I'm not in that. I really wrote myself out of any possibility of any casting. I was like, we need a really bendy 22-year-old assassin. I was like, why did I do that? And then I was like, and then the woman chasing her has to be 46. And I was like, well, why have I done that? And then I was like, well, maybe I should create a character that I wanted to die in it, have a really brutal death. And then I just didn't write myself in anything like that either. I don't know why I didn't do that.
Redraft.
Yes, there's still time.
And Dry White's still a very ongoing, active. Vicky, if anyone gets a chance, is Touch going to tour, or you'll play Touch?
Oh, well, I don't know yet, but it's finishing on Saturday.
Really?
Soho Theatre.
It's absolutely brilliant. And again, that's another sort of girl from Swansea comes to the big city, and it's a sort of, again, biographical tale of different men in her life and how she responds to that. And
Yes, it's about a girl kind of trying to work out who she is emotionally and sexually, I think.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And Lydia, do you want to do the big news today? Do you want to tell us what's going to happen with Fleabag?
Am I doing the big news?
Yeah, come on.
So we are going to do a second series.
You're first to hear. But not until 2026.
Yeah, not in my lifetime.
I just want to flash forward to Granny Fleabag.
It's going to be on your screens in 2019. So it's quite a long way, but it's happening.
Brilliant. And that's, I mean, I know it's not even near the page yet, but you've got the vision for it. Is there any, so are we jumping forward in time with her, or is there anything we can tease today, or?
No.
Oh, okay.
I really struggled thinking about how to come back, because I didn't want to stretch the story even further than I already stretched it, and I felt like the relationship with the audience had evolved by the end, and so that's what's been taking us so long, and me so long, to decide whether or not we're going to do it again. And then was on a bus and had an idea. Called Lydia and was like, what about this? She was like, yes, go. So really, really excited.
So that's going to develop.
It'll be as experimental.
Okay, we've got sort of about 10 minutes before we wrap up. I thought we'd do some Q&A, and there's microphones kicking around. So can we, if you want to put your hand up, and we'll take some questions from the floor. Come on, don't be shy. Who have we got? There we go. Gentleman in the green top.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for saying hello to me. That was so nice. That's all I wanted to do. What I just wanted to ask about was when you was actually creating Fleabag, and you obviously put yourself in it, but how did you add more to the character of Fleabag and the other characters to bounce off as well?
Well, immediately the first thing was knowing that I wasn't going to play all the characters anymore really helped, because then when you have Hugh Skinner in your cast, and you know he's going to play your boyfriend, and you just, I mean, that was so inspiring. I mean, the moment it was cast, basically, I already started generating ideas about what I wanted to see those actors play and do. And then it was really about teasing out the relationships more, deepening the relationships more. And then there was always just a wall of Post-it notes of funny things that was like in this room in my house, and we all sat there just basically going, who could this funny thing apply to? It was really basic like that, really. I go, we've got Hugh Skinner, let's put him in a shower and let's scare the shit out of him. And we were like, that sounds funny, let's do that. So it was driving towards the moments that I knew I wanted to be in. I knew I wanted in it, and then creating longer arcs for the relationships and more characters around that. So it was really, but really the actors that we cast really helped.
I think the way you are with characters is that you really notice things about people and remember things, so little tiny moments and so on. Phoebe's always collecting those somehow and noticing things that would just pass me by, and I'll be like, oh yeah, they did say that or do that. And also she just has such a big heart, you know. She's she sort of loves kindness and decency and so on. It's sort of, I may say, so hurt by cruelty and so on. So I feel like that's always imbued your characters, that they may say terrible things, but then they're often, you love them, you know, you can feel their heart underneath. I think also that she tends to bury things in subtext. Like, we always have a thing when we watched any shows together that Phoebe can guess what's going to happen at the end. It's maddening for me. But I think you make your stories and your arcs and your characters Phoebe-proof in that you know, you can't guess what's going to happen to them by the end. She's staying ahead of the audience constantly.
Did you have like influences or reference points that brought to bear on Fleabag? Did you, or things you didn't want it to be? What was sort of it?
I remember after it came out, there was lots of kind of slightly lazy comparisons of, it was quite Bridget Jones, isn't it? And you were like, this just feels like that was the last thing that maybe really resonated, that seemed to really hit all the kind of points of what people wanted to discuss about at that time. So I feel like I always never wanted it to be kind of, oh, it's a new version of that, or I just think that. So I was always aware of that.
Louis C.K.'s show Louis was a really big inspiration, but just the audacity of him structuring it however the fuck he wanted and whatever kind of joke he wanted, and allowing that character to go and be whoever he wanted it to be. That, I mean, I just thought his 5 series of that or whatever are just so beautiful. I just watched them over and over and over again. And but originally, it's weird when you go, we want to make something that isn't like anything else, and then your references become so random. But then, and actually, when I first was writing the play, my husband gave me Less Than Zero by Bret Easton Ellis. And he was like, I think this might help. And that had a huge impact on the play, actually. I keep sort of forgetting that going into books actually helps me more than watching other TV, because mainly you're watching it going, they nailed that, they did that, damn, I was going to do that joke, or I want to do that, you know. And then, but when you actually disappear into your own imagination with other characters and feel and see structure in books, I think
that's
really
about a
helps.
character who holds back on his emotions, all these terrible things happening to him, and he seems unaffected by it, and then just towards the end you get this tiny little chink of humanity, and you feel so desperately grateful for it. So that as a paradigm was really helpful for you,
real
wasn't it?
breakthrough.